Hey, and a very warm welcome to the Into the LightWeb podcast with me, your hostess, Joanna Hunter, metaphysical teacher, spiritual life and business coach, published author, and the high priestess of the LightWeb, a spiritual technology that will change your life. This is the place to be to talk everything under the LightWeb, from consciousness, relationships, to money, to spiritual business, and everything in between. Hello. Welcome to this 11:22 portal today. I am really excited to this 11. So I have got a juicy transmission for you today. I am excited for this. So let's just get some more people to jump on. If you're watching me on Facebook and you're watching me live, give me a little green heart for the live vibes. Or if you're watching me on the replay, then give me a little pink heart to tell me that you're watching me on replay. If you're watching this on YouTube, then make sure that you like and subscribe my channel. So I am excited today for today's transmission of light. I've got a juicy one for you. So these portals where the numbers all line up are really great for creating what we want in life. They're really amazing and awesome for creating the life that we want, the life that we dream of. So I have a question for you all today. And that question is, would you like to create a life by design? Would you like to create a life by design? Would you like to be the architect and the designer of your own life? So basically, you get to choose whatever is going to happen in your life and however your life is going to unfold. Would you like to be a life by design? Would you like to create a life by design? It's not a trick question. It is really just a yes or no question. Is this something that you would like for yourself? Or are we happy to merrily just go along and accept whatever life is chucking our way and just going to accept the status quo, just going to accept whatever is coming our way? Or would we like to create a life by design? So I'm seeing lots and lots of yeses here. So Gretchen is saying yes, Isaiah is saying yes, Caroline here is saying yes, Charmaine is saying yes, Sheila is saying yes, Irene is saying yes, Elena is saying yes, Karen is saying yes. Amazing. So, and we've got Kelly here listening in the group as well. So if you are a yes, and you really would like, that's something that you would like to create your life by design, then the first thing that I'm here to tell you is that you're going to require, to create life by design, you're going to require power. And power comes in two types of power for our life by design. We can have circumstantial power. So the question, Mac, was, would you like to create a life by design? Would you like to create a life by design? So it comes, power, we're going to require power, and power comes in two flavors. You can have circumstantial power. So circumstantial power is where all of the circumstances in your life line up. And that's kind of cushy, that's nice. Right? That's nice power. But let me know, ladies, if you're listening to this, how often have all the circumstances in your life lined up perfectly every single fucking day of your life? Ever. How often has that actually happened? So not much, like never. Right? So sometimes their circumstances do line up, but not often, right? So here's the thing, that we've experienced circumstances lining up, but it doesn't happen often, right? So if we are going to use that as our power base to create our life by design, why from the get-go we're fucked, basically, right? Because if we're going to sit and we're saying, right, I want to create a life by design, but I'm just going to sit here and wait until all of the circumstances have lined up in my favor. The stars have aligned, all the people in my life have aligned, everything has aligned. I'm just going to sit here and wait. We're going to be there until we are old and gray and ready to pop our clogs. And we still probably will not have got the circumstantial power that we needed in order to create a life by design. So the second power base is the power base that we need to go for. We're going to need to go for personal power. Personal power does not rely on outer circumstances. It only relies on inner power. Or inside, what's happening inside of us. So if we wait for everything to line up in our outer world, and therefore at that point we get to be powerful, if the powers that be line it all up for us and the circumstances are all in our favor, now we get to be powerful. So now we get to create the life by design. But in our own inner selves, if we start to look at ourselves and say, okay, well, what if I line up my power inside me, inside myself, first and foremost, then I get to be powerful every day. And then the circumstances can kind of do what they do anyway. Because we can't control the outer circumstances. That's the whole gig. That's why we're going to be sat waiting. We're waiting for circumstantial power to line up. Then we're going to be sat there waiting and waiting and waiting. But if we are like, okay, I'm good with whatever circumstances are out there, then if I'm in my personal power, then it's me that gets to say when and where. Does that make sense? Beautiful. So, how do we start to get personal power? How do we start to code for personal power? So let's go back to this question, our guiding light question. Our guiding light question here is, would you like to create a life by design? And most of you answered me in the comments there and said, yes, I would like to create a life by design. So we've now looked and examined the power, and there's two types of power. We can wait for the circumstances to line up, which will be right about half past never, or we can have personal power, which means that we get to make that. So what can we do with personal power? With personal power, we can make personal choices. If we're waiting for circumstantial power, we're waiting for outer forces to make the choices for us. How many people have you experienced in your life that made your success their choice? You're waiting to think about that, right? So that's, yeah. So our inner power comes from our choices that we're making. It comes from our choices that we're making. That's where our inner power comes from. It comes from our choices that we're making. I'm going to discuss something with you, which is quite a difficult thing to discuss. But this is something that comes up for me. And sometimes I feel this overwhelming, like, heartache around this. Because people come into my world and they are asking for something when they come into my world. They're like wanting to create their life by design. They're wanting to make more money. They're wanting to create change. They're wanting something, right? We're not all here for shits and giggles, right? Am I right? Am I right? Right? We're not here for shits and giggles. We're here because we want to change something. We want to change something up. We want to create something. And I honor that because I was exactly like that as well. I wanted to change something in my life. I wanted to create something in my life, right? I'm going to give you something that happened inside my $1 million experience container. So last year we did the $1 million experiment, and this year we did the $1 million experiment. Or experience. So last year was the experiment, this year was the experience. So I had a lady who signed up for the experience, on payment plan. It was $25 a month, right? And then in March, she writes this really, really horrible message. And she basically writes to us that, don't we know that she's a single mom? What the fuck are we doing? Taking money out of her account every month. And like, really going to town, right? And like, we're this horrible organization that's literally stealing money out of her account. Now, the first thing is, if you've been in my role for a while, you will know that we do no hard sell ever. That is our policy. If you can't lead yourself to clicking the button, we don't really want to be your coach, because being self-led is what's going to get you the results. It's what's going to allow you to create a life by design. So we knew our energy was squeaky clean in this, right? But my heart just dropped into my boots for this woman, because she came to me for a reason. And in the frenetic energy of this person, of feeling like, oh my God, I got to do something. I'm going to sign up for this thing, of where there was zero iota personal responsibility of what they were signing up for. Not one. And then not even realizing, like, you know, it's written in big letters when you pick the payment plan, like, this is the payment plan. You get a follow-up email to say you have chosen a payment plan, you know. So all of these things. And for me, you know, I really was not upset for myself, right? Because I'm good. I know who I am. I know where I'm at. I was upset for this person because she wanted to change her life, and yet the power, she just gave it away. She gave the power away. She gave the power away the moment she could not stand by her own decision. And if we listen to the story that she was saying, the story was like, we're the big evil corporation. We're like penalizing her. I'm like, no, actually, lady, nobody forced you to sign up for the thing. You signed up for the thing of your own volition and your own energy. You pressed the button all by yourself. You filled in the credit card details all by yourself. Like, nobody sat there with a gun to your head to do the thing. Like, you did the whole thing. You took all of that action by yourself. And okay, fair enough. It could be that you didn't read what you were signing up for. But again, not the fault of my company, right? She was having a bad day. Absolutely. She was having a bad day, right? But here's the thing. Here's the thing that drops into my boots. The reason why I feel like my heart I want all of you to succeed in my world. I want you to succeed. I want you to have everything. I want you to be able to create a life by design. I want you to look back in hindsight and be like, holy fucking shitballs, I did it. I created this life by total and utter design. It's all me. I created this. What creates this feeling inside of me where my heart just feels like it's dropping into my boots is the knowing what it takes to actually create that. What it takes to create your life by design is to stand by your choices. But when you don't stand by your choices, you give the very power away that would have been the power that you would have used to create your life by design. And when we enter into something which I call the blame game is where we're looking to discharge our power, and we're looking for a conduit to hold our power when we're not willing to hold our power ourselves. Well, I'm not further along in my life because this evil coach is taking money out of my account every month for the thing I signed up for myself, right? That's the situation here. That's the blame game. The blame game does one thing and one thing only. It might make you feel good in the short term, but long term, it takes your power away from you. So when we're not willing to look at the places where we're laying blame, where are we laying blame? And this was something that I personally experienced in my own life. You know, when growing up, I had a very verbally abusive father, and I moved out of my home, my family home at 18 years of age. And years later, I was still in the blame game. My life was rubbish because I had a horrible dad. But like, I hadn't lived under his roof in freaking years at that point. And yet somehow he was completely responsible for my lot in life. And what I was actually engaging in and doing was giving my power away. I was giving my power away, and I kept giving my power away, and I kept giving my power away, and I kept giving my power away. And I wondered when it got to be my turn, and I wondered when I was going to get success, and I wondered when, you know, things were going to come all right for me. And yet the thing that would make it all right for me, I was insistent on giving that away. Every time I blamed him for something in my current life situation. It's his fault. If he'd just been nicer, then maybe I could be further ahead in life. Never mind that I was a fully responsible for myself adult woman in that moment, but I wasn't willing to take that power on. I wasn't willing to take the mantle of that power on. So for me, it was easier to say it was my dad's fault. And I did this for years, and this is the blame game. Now, when we enter the blame game, we disempower ourselves. We don't have enough power to actually create the power needed to create the life by design. So of course, I kept wondering, so then I kept looking in the outer world, well, when are those circumstances going to line up for me? When are those circumstances going to get better for me? When it's everybody on the planet going to decide Joanna gets to win today? And I sat and I waited and I waited and I waited and I waited, and I got bored of waiting. And that's when I actually started to look for something more. And I started to do the inner work. And I started to look at myself and started to be willing to do the inner work. So the one thing that you have in this life that no one can take away from you is choice. Now, one of the things that we are very, very attached to is telling the story that we have no choice. And we tell the story that we have no choice all the time. So I'll give you an example. I was out with my eldest daughter and her boyfriend over the weekend there, because we went down to Edinburgh, and she lives down in Edinburgh. She's at university down there. So one of the days we spent with her boyfriend, and we went into this like really, really high-end store, and we were having a look around, and I was having a little look at the all the fancy stuff, right? And I was saying to my daughter and her boyfriend, like, anchor this in. This is a whole vibe. Anchor this vibe in. And my daughter's boyfriend says, I can't afford anything here. And it's such a proud mama moment, because my daughter says, that's not true. You have money in your bank account. You could buy whatever the fuck you want in this store. And he says, no, I can't. I don't have the money for this. And she said, well, yes, you can. You can buy whatever the fuck you want. And he said, well, how do you reckon that? Because then I wouldn't be able to pay the rent. And she goes, yeah. So you have a choice. You can buy something in the store, or you can pay your rent. But the truth is, you have a choice. So saying that you have no choice and that you can't afford anything in the store, when the truth is you can afford something in the store, but you are choosing to pay your rent instead. And she goes, you know what? It sounds like I might be arguing semantics here, But it's really important that you give yourself the choice. I was so proud. I was like, that's my girl. That's my girl. She gets it. She gets it, right? Because we disempower ourselves when we say we don't have a choice. And we do that in so many places and spaces. We say, I don't have a choice. I don't have a choice. I like this, but there is. And the thing is that if we are paying rent every month or we are paying our bills every month, the fact is that all of us could actually afford the designer stuff or whatever things that we want. But here's the thing, we're choosing something else. But if you tell the story, I have no choice, I've got to pay my rent, that creates this closed reality that closes down your power. Now you don't have the power. You're just a victim. You're just a victim of the circumstances. The circumstances is the bank account says you have no money, but actually you did have the money to pay the rent because you paid the rent. Or you can actually tell the truth of the situation, which is actually I'm choosing to keep the roof over my head at this point in time. This is the choice I am making. But we disempower our own energy fields when we tell the story. I don't have a choice. I don't have a choice here. I don't have a choice here. And that's the reason why I get that feeling in my heart, because I want you guys to win. I want you to come into my world. I want you to make the switches inside and change that relationship you're having with yourself and that relationship that you're having with the universe. And I want you to start to perceive this universe as a loving and supportive universe to you, because it is. But I can't do that for someone. And I can absolutely not do that for someone when there is zero personal responsibility. Because if we can't even stand by the choices that we've made, we are now in deep shit. We're now in deep, deep doo-doo. Because that's the very thing that you're going to use to create a life by design. So let's break down. Let's go back to this guiding star of our conversation, this life by design. So we're wanting to create this life by design. So what does that mean? That means choices, that we're choosing what we're going to have in our life. So choice has to feature. Choice has to feature. And it has to be the center of everything. What you're choosing to have in your life, what you're choosing not to have in your life. So I don't use this term often, and I don't use it lightly either. What you can and cannot afford. I personally believe, and I will stand by this, this is my choice, I cannot afford to not give myself a choice. So I seek wherever I go to always give myself a choice. Sometimes it can feel like I'm a rock in a hard place, but I still give myself the choice. Right? Because the way that I perceive is I cannot afford, because it's literally going to cost me my life by design if I don't give myself the choice. The other thing I cannot afford is I cannot afford to live my life on autopilot if I want to create a life by design. I can't afford to be at the steering wheel of life. Because if I'm asleep at the steering wheel of life, guess what? I can't complain when I end up somewhere I don't want to be. Because I wasn't designing it. I wasn't watching where I was going. I wasn't looking out at the road ahead. I was literally asleep at the wheel. And so I cannot afford to be asleep at the wheel either. I have to be in choice. And for you to be awakened, and what awakening really means is living your life on purpose. Living your life on purpose, where you're choosing. Is this the energy I want more of? It's a really powerful question. When you're encountering something, don't get personal about it. Start using these questions instead. Is this the energy I want more of? If you want a life that you live, another powerful coaching question, which is my favorite coaching question in the entire world, I channeled from Skylar, which was, what is the most loving thing I can do for myself? What is the most loving thing I can do for myself? In channeling that question and answering that question for myself, I align my life with love. In this moment, if you're in a rock and a hard place, and you're thinking, fuck, what will I do? I don't know what I'll do. Oh shit, I'm freaking out here. What's the most loving thing I can do for myself in this moment? Then you're aligning your life to love. And you're going to, if you align your life to love, you're going to create a life by design that you will love. The thing with this is everybody comes into my world and they say, Joanna, this is so simple. Yeah, it is. It is so simple. And yet it is so hard for us to do it sometimes. But it is simple. The principles are incredibly simple. And I am living, breathing proof in the simplicity of this way of being. Yeah, we overcomplicate it. We overthink it. We try and add bells and whistles to it. When it really just comes down to, if you do a bunch of shit in your life that you don't like, chances are you're going to create a life that you don't like that much, right? Who knew? Who knew? And we try to make it more complex than it is, but it's actually really quite very, very simple. And when we can reduce it down into this beautiful simplicity. And so one of the reasons in my world why I harp on so much about self-led, being self-led, leading yourself, it is because it is the tool that will give you the power to create a life by design. And that means that you need to take ownership over the choices that you make in life, even the shitty ones. And when we take ownership over the choices that we make in life, even the crappy ones, magic happens as a result. If we make good choices and we're okay to own those and say, yeah, those are marvelous choices, they were all mine. And then if we make shitty choices that don't lead to places where we wanted to go, we go, oh, no, I possibly couldn't have made those choices. And yet we did make those choices. I'm absolutely 100% sure that those choices are nothing to do with me. I have never even seen those choices before in my life. I have no idea who made them. But they have just appeared as if by magic in my life. And I am certain I did not make those choices. That is where our energy is draining. That is where our energy is leaving us. And what happens is that we don't collect the data from the crappy choices because we're pretending we didn't make them in the first place, which means there is nothing to learn there. When I can tell you that there is greatness to learn there. There is a magic contained therein. Because everything is here for you. Be Magic Insight. Everything in your life is happening for you. Be Magic Insight 3. Everything in your life is happening for you. Holy fucking shitballs, let me tell you, that was a difficult, bitter, bitter pill to swallow. All of the crap, having an abusive father growing up, how was that working for me? It was very easy with that insight to slip into my human, and with slipping into my human, really slipping into victim mode to boot. But when I started to look at that and thinking the bigger picture, that what if everything, and this insight helped me to really look at everything as being data. Data comes in two flavors. Again, it's that duality that we live in. It's that two flavors. And that's why we're at 11, 11, 20, 22, 11, 22 portal, right? Duality. And so it's that duality again, it's that two. And data comes in two flavors, ways that work, ways that do not work. But if you can see life in that very linear, it's just data, ways that work, ways that don't work, all of it's propelling you forward. Say, for instance, we put numbers on this. This is a really good example. Imagine that there was 5 ways that work and 100 ways that didn't work, or 95 ways that didn't work, okay? So we start off with the number 100. If you encounter a way that didn't work, you are now down to 94 ways that don't work and 5 ways that do work. Next, you try something else. You find another way that didn't work. You are now 93 ways that didn't work down. You're propelling forward. You're finding the ways that don't work for you is propelling you forward. You have not failed. You're not in a position where you can cry into your breakfast and be like, oh my God, I'm so pathetic at this. I just keep finding all these ways that don't work. You're closer. You're closer than you've ever been. And every time that you're eliminating one of these ways, you're getting closer and closer and closer than you have ever been. But we're attached to the wrong and the right. We're attached that the wrong can propel us forward. The wrong is just wrong. And we're screwed if we're thinking we're doing it wrong. But what if we just start to put one foot in front of the other? And what if we start to adopt this idea that we couldn't lose? We just got choices to make. And the choices will bring through data, and all data propels us forward. The choices will give us ways that work and ways that don't work. So we are safe to admit and own every choice that we make. We are safe to admit, to own every choice that we make. But if we can't own the choices, we disempower ourselves and we won't have the power to create the life by design. And I want that more for you. I want that for you more than anything. Why? Because I'm a little bit evangelical about it. Because I've literally created my own life by design. And let me tell you, it's really fucking sweet. And I kind of want all of humanity to be experiencing this too. And I know that it's open and available to all of humanity. And the reason I know that it's available to all of humanity, because I learned to change my thinking and my reality changed. And then I taught a bunch of other people to change their thinking and their reality changed. So I know I can duplicate these results again and again and again. But if we're not willing to take the personal responsibility over the choices that we make, we're kind of like screwed the pooch on the first line, you know? We're not really giving ourselves that way forward. So Matt is saying here, it's like me in technology, right? And you just being consistent, you find a way that worked. And this is it. Lovely, Catherine. Beautiful, I love them. So it is a big thing and it's scary, right? Because what we're actually saying here is the buck is going to stop with me. The buck is going to stop with me. But the bonus and the payoff for the buck stopping with you, of you being the supreme authority in your life, is that you get all your power to actually create a life by design. But when you are part-time owner of your power, as in those choices are mine because they're great choices. I made them all. They're all my own creations. And then those choices over here, no. I've never seen them before in my life. I have absolutely not made those choices. When you did make those choices, right? Then what we're doing is we're only part-time inhabiting the power position in life. And this is the key. This is the key, right? It's like taking ownership over ourselves and taking ownership and saying, well, that's mine. Skylar has this beautiful saying that I love. It's been a guiding light in my life for such a long time, but it's such a powerful saying. Either you own the energy or the energy owns you. So when you're not owning your choices, those choices are owning you. And what happens when a choice is owning you, right? Maybe you made a decision for something and it turned out not to be that great, or you're not enjoying it or whatever. And so it's that person's fault. And well, they're doing this to me now, and all of these things, right? And we're making those, instead of standing by the choice that we made, and we're like discharging the power. We're trying to lay it anywhere but us. What we're doing in that moment is we're just disconnecting. We're disconnecting from any lessons that we could have learned, any liquid gold that was in there. We're not mining for that anymore, because guess what? It's not even ours. I've never seen that before. I don't know how that got there. You know, we're what I call pulling a Bart Simpson. It was like that when I got there, man. You know, like, it's not my fault. But what we do is we're creating this like disconnected energy field around us. And then we feel frustrated, really, really frustrated. Why can't I get ahead? Why can't I, create more? Why can't I get the life that I want? And it's one of these things that, when I remember once, many, many years ago, watching, like, it came up on YouTube, and it was like this, like Miss World or something like that. And they were being asked these questions. And the question that these contestants were asked was something about ignorance being bliss, but knowledge being painful. And it was a kind of strange question. And it is that element of ignorance is bliss. Like, you're in that, you have no idea that you literally shot yourself in the foot. I did for years. It was my dad's fault. It was this person's fault. It was that person's fault. It was those circumstances. It was the government. It was the economy. Like, wherever I could discharge my power, I was like, are you taking power today? Yes, we're taking power. Load it up over here. And then I would just hand my power out constantly. And then I wondered why things weren't great. And then I wondered why things were terrible. And then I wondered why I never seemed to have the oomph, the fuel to get myself to the goals that I had. And it wasn't until I started saying, you know what? I started becoming like really precious with my power and being like, this is mine. And owning the decisions, and even the decisions when I didn't make good decisions, when I'd made terrible decisions. And, that doesn't look like a smooth path. That path is like this way, like all over the place, right? So like, I remember signing up for this course, and it was a mastermind. It was $17,000. The first call, first of all, the guy whose mastermind it was, he wasn't even on the call for the first call. It was one of his coaches. That rubbed me the wrong way straight away. But then we had to do growth work before we, like homework, before we arrived to the call, and I'd done my homework. And I arrived with my homework, and I was really pleased with what I'd created, and I was really happy with what I created. And that coach proceeded on a call of about 1,000 people to take the absolute piss out of me in front of everyone. Because he didn't get the spiritual aspect of what I'd created as it was like a lead magnet, what I'd created on my lead magnet. And that really rubbed me the wrong way. And it was the only time in my life I've ever asked for my money back and said, you know what, this is not for me. And the people said, no, you can't have your money back. So another coach said to me, who's a very well-known coach, they said to me, I would just do a chargeback, just charge back. And I was like, no. Like energy attracts like energy. I am not starting that shit. I would never want somebody to do that. I was a grown-ass adult woman. I made this choice. I bought this course, eyes wide open. I signed on the dotted line. I did the thing. I'm going to stand by the choice that I made. Then I went down into a downward spiral. A few months later, I saw something else that I wanted to buy. I wasn't attending any of the mastermind calls at this point. And I felt really like down on myself. And I caught myself beating myself up. I caught myself in full on victim mode. And I thought, okay, enough is enough is enough. We got to stand by this choice, and you've got to own this choice now, because either you own the energy or the energy owns you. So I sat with it, and I sat with it, and I sat with it, and I sat and I said, can I own this choice? And I'm like, yep, it was me. I chose this. I did this. I chose this. I leant deeply into there's always more money, because a big part of me beating myself up was this idea that I had wasted money. Let me know in the comments if you've ever been in a place where you're like, I've wasted money. I'm such a terrible human. I spent money and then I didn't choose the thing I spent it on, and I wasted money. And we do that, right? Like we've been there, right? We've been there. We felt that, right? So I sat and I looked at it and I thought, okay, you know, like this. And I thought, okay, I can lean into there's always more money. So I knew that thought process of like, I've wasted money was coming from my own lack consciousness. Did I want to create, if I was looking at creating life by design, my guiding star, I'm creating my life by design here. Do I want to create a life where there's lack in my life? And I was like, no, I want to create an abundant life. That's my choice. My choice is abundance. So then I was like, well, you better get with abundance program, girlfriend, and stop telling the story that there isn't enough money, because the only reason you're pissed that you wasted money is your perception that there isn't enough money, which creates the reality that there isn't enough money. See how that works? So then I was like, okay, there's always more money. So I started leaning in there and I was like, yeah, there's always more money. So I can just let it go. Like chalk it up to a learning curve. Like let's chalk it up to a lesson learned. Chalk it up to asking more intelligent questions before signing that dotted line, you know? Lead yourself a little bit better. What can I learn here? What can I do here, right? How can I learn to be a better human, basically, right? So I wrote down all of the things that I could learn from the situation. And now I started to feel like, I'm really fucking winning here. This looks really, really good. Then I decided, why did I buy? Because it's not a typical person. He was recommended to me by a mentor that I really appreciate. And I really appreciate that mentor. I just didn't really appreciate this person. And this person is not somebody that I, like my usual person to follow either. So I was like really examining my own behavior around the purchase and why I purchased. And then I heard it. You should learn this. You should learn this. This was the lesson that was worth every single penny. And I am not even joking when I say this. Like I am deadly serious. This was worth every single penny of $17,000. I learned this lesson by being willing to take ownership of my decision. I should learn this, but I had zero desire to learn this. I should learn this, but I did not desire to learn that. So guess what? I have no business in that person's class, because I do not desire to be there, which means I am not creating my life by design in that moment, because what I'm doing is I'm trying to force and control the narrative, Why should I learn this? Well, everybody knows if you're going to be successful, you have to do Facebook ads. But I have no desire to do Facebook ads. Yes, but you really should learn this, Joanna. But I have no desire. Yes, but you really should learn this. Okay, I'll sign up with no fucking desire to be there. No wonder that did not end well for me. No personal responsibility, no actual looking at myself and thinking, do you really want this? No, I don't really want this. What happened afterwards when I took ownership of my choice and I took ownership of my decision? I came across a coach that did not use Facebook ads and was making $2 million a month online. $2 million a month online, no Facebook ads, completely organic reach marketing. I had a fixed idea that you needed in order to be successful to go to the 7 figures. I was already doing really well because we'd already been at multiple 6 figures. But in order to get to that, get that fabled 7 figures, you needed ads up in here. And what that did was, but I never checked in with myself. Did I actually want to do ads? I happen to think personally for myself, and no judgment if you use ads, because great, if they work for you, awesome. But for me, they are like a complete monkey's ball sack. I do not enjoy ads. There is no part of the process that I enjoy in the ads process. I am not a fan for me personally. That is my discernment for me. I see lots of people who use them, and I see lots of people who get really good results with them. And honestly, I am delighted for those people because it's working for them. Me, not so much. But what I do love is organic reach marketing. It makes me happy. It thrills me no end. I freaking love organic reach marketing. So sometimes the line here is not linear, because I went down into that downward spiral. I beat myself up a little bit. I was like, I wasted money. But then when I went into the reality that I wanted to create, there's always more money. You live in an abundant reality, Joanna, get a grip here. And I started to take ownership and responsibility over the choice that I had made instead of beating myself up and feeling victimized by the choice that I made. I learned a lesson that has literally saved me thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. I never buy a single thing out of the energy of should anymore. I only buy from desire. So everything that I buy from this point forth works for me because I desired it. But before, I was buying a mixed bag of stuff. Some stuff worked, some stuff didn't work. I had no idea what was what. But when I bought from desire, and this is another reason why I will never do hard sell ever, because if you desire what it is that I have for sale and you desire what it is that I have, and you're in desire of it, you've got your own motivation to click that button and say, I'm in. But if I have to generate that motivation for you and make that motivation for you, trust me, you're in the energy of should. It's not going to end well for you, and it's not going to end well for me. So I'd rather that you would just waited or stayed in my orbit or stayed in the energy until you were in a place of desire. And you could be like, yeah, I totally want this. This is what I desire for myself. This is what I desire for my business. This is what I desire for my life. And I'm playing a long game in my business, not an instant gratification, short-term game of short-term gain, hustle like a mofo, make a pile of money, and then feel really crispy and on the edges and feel totally burnt out as a result. I'm not into that. I'm not interested in that. That's not what I wanted. That's not part of my life of design. My life of design is all about ease, joy, and flow. Happy vibes, good vibes, feeling good, feeling amazing, feeling squeaky clean about the money that I make, knowing that it's coming from an extremely ethical place, knowing that it's coming from a place of really, really being there 100%. present, alive, awake, living my life on purpose. That's what I want. And so I'm playing that game. I am not playing that let's hustle like a mofo and, line them up and shoot them down type marketing. That's not my thing. And so again, that creating life by design of like, what is it that you truly want? And it means that there's a lot of, if this conversation is lighting you up, and if this conversation is lighting you up and you're thinking about, I want to create my life by design. I want to create a life that I can look at and be like, I am so proud of what I have created in my life. And I am so blessed to live the life that I am living, and that you feel it with every fiber of your being. And you just wake up in the morning and you're just like, how is this my life? When we moved into this house that we're living in right now, me and my husband would wake up in the morning and we would just stare at each other and start laughing. We just start laughing. We would just be filled with so much joy. And then we go, how is this our house? It was so fucking insane. But it was all part of creating the life by design. That's what I want for every single person that crosses my threshold in my life. Every single person that comes into my world, comes into my orbit, follows me, purchases from me. This is what I want for you. But what I have laid out today in today's transmission of light is what it takes. If you want to create a life by design, you have to live your life on purpose. And therefore, you have to take personal responsibility for the choices that you make, because it is the choices that you make that will lead to the results that you want. And that means we have to take also responsibility for when we have a perception that we've made a choice that is in alignment. But there's a lesson in there. And let me tell you, those lessons are so freaking valuable. So valuable. So valuable. Like, I've saved thousands of dollars by only buying stuff that I desire. But also as well, I've saved myself time, frustration, annoyance, negative comments in my own head, because whatever I choose from this point onwards. And not only that, I have such a powerful, valuable lesson, I can share it with you. And if you decide to choose to take that lesson on board and only purchase from desire this, I desire to be here, I desire to be in this container, I desire to have this for myself, instead of buying from the dreaded should, your life will also, so not only do I have a lesson that's for me, but it's a lesson that I can share now with other people. It's a lesson I can teach my clients. It was worth every single penny of that $17,000. And that seems strange to some people, because some people are like, yeah, but you only went to one call, and yeah, but you didn't get anything out of the mastermind. I got liquid gold out of that mastermind. I just wasn't present in the mastermind for the gold. The gold was found outside of it. The gold will always be found in your own energy. The gold will always be found in your own energy. I want to wrap this conversation up with something that Skylar iterates in their teachings, but it's an old teaching. It's very, very old. It's been around since the dawn of time. Gurus, sages of old have said this always, that it's already all within you. It's already all within you. I want you just to sit with that and put your hands on your heart for a moment. That life by design. The ability to create that life by design. The energy required for it. The alignment required for it. It's already all within you. It's already all within you. Feel it in your being. Feel it in your body. You know what to do. You know what your next power move is. How does that make you feel? How does that make you feel? To know that is already all within you, that your next power move, your next thing that you need to do for yourself, your next piece of alignment, your next step, your next piece is already there. It's already within you. Confident, calm, excited. Makes me feel powerful. Just sit in those vibes for a moment. That's your power that you're feeling. A few of you said it makes you feel powerful. That's your power. I never gave you that power. No one else in this world said, oh, let me bestow this on you. That's your power. It's always been yours. I get to be like Glenda, the good witch from Wizard of Oz. Say the power has always been yours, my dear. And it has. The power has always been within you. But if we wait for circumstantial power, we're going to wait for a very, very long time. And if we enter the blame game, we're dishing away the very thing that would create our liberation and our freedom from a life of mediocrity. And it disempowers us so that we don't get to the life of the extraordinary. But if we choose to stand by the choices and understand that you choose your way to the life of design, it is all choice. And if you always choose to give yourself choice, even when it looks impossible, even that example I used of my daughter's boyfriend, he was standing there going, no, I can't afford. And my daughter's like, I bet you can, just means you wouldn't pay rent, but you can afford. And that's it. So really, really knowing that that power is within you to lead yourself, what you need. What do you need in life to create a life by design? Maybe you need to be plugging into higher level thinking. Maybe you need to be surrounding yourself by people that are thinking in this way or walking towards this. This is what you need. What is it that you need to create that life by design? And giving it to yourself. And then standing by those choices and knowing that you cannot fail because it's all data. Data in, data out. It's all data. Powerful, powerful, powerful data. Feel that power that's inside of you. You are powerful beyond measure. Beyond measure. I believe that you have the juice inside of you. And that's why when I see people in my world, they're discharging their power, it makes my little heart sink to my boots because I'm like, I know how powerful you are. I know what you're capable of. I know what you can do in life. And I want it for you. I want it so much I can taste it. I want you to wake up in the mornings and mad giggle like you're a fucking lunatic, questioning your own goddamn sanity because life is feeling so freaking sweet for you, and the knowingness in your heart and your being that you created that. You created that. I want that for the people in my world. I want it so much I can taste it. I want to help you to lead yourself there, to point the direction, for you to illuminate the path for you. And it's so amazing when you get those moments of bliss and those moments of joy. Your highest joy, your highest bliss. That's life by design. If you could choose anything off the buffet table of life, why wouldn't you pick bliss and joy and happiness and abundance and all of the good that this life has to offer. Of course, you would pick it for yourself. So I hope that you have enjoyed today's transmission of light. We are now at 222 here. We're at 12:22 on the 22nd of the 11th, 2022. It is a whole vibe. It's a whole energy. What would you choose for your life? Let me know in the comments. What are the vibrations, the frequencies that you would choose for your life? Share them with me. Let's finish this call on a big love in. What would you love to have in your life? Joy. Amazing. Beautiful. Ease, flow, and joy. We love that one. Happiness and financial freedom. Gorgeous. Happiness and health. Abundance and joy. Health. Choose to be fully booked with ease, joy, and success and financial freedom. Beautiful. Ginny here is saying it's been a beautiful transmission and really felt the desire to enter the 100, and I want freedom to do what I like. And you aligned with that and stepped in and joined us. I'm so happy that you're here. Beautiful. I want you to really think about what you've answered here. Like, what do you want to create? Like the joy, the happiness. And then I want you to use that as a guiding light. And by a guiding light, what I mean by that is you place it above all other energies in your life. So if you said joy, do you really have any business doing stuff that makes you feel the opposite of joy? Or are we going to choose to align to the things that bring us joy? Because that's how the joy starts to enter our lives. We have to choose it. We have to live it on purpose. We have to keep choosing it again and again. And it's daily choices, little micro choices. You know, we might choose the chocolate bar in the moment and think, oh, it's a little moment of joy. And then later on, we spend the entire afternoon beating ourselves up for eating the chocolate. Not so much joy. Do we have any business eating the chocolate? Or were we better picking up the apple? Still getting that moment of joy of biting into the apple. But then later on in the afternoon, we have a nicer afternoon because we're not like calling ourselves names in our own head and making bad choices because we felt like we made a bad choice. It's by connecting to the energies that we want. So freedom to do exactly as I like is my guiding light. Sounds exciting. I love that. I love that. So think about what you're choosing for yourself, but then also stand by the choices that you make to get yourself there. And know this, you cannot fail. Because it's already all within you. And if you're willing to learn from freaking everything, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it, you cannot lose. You cannot lose. Chocolate is never a bad choice. So thank you so much for joining us on this transmission of light. I hope that it's flooded your life with some light today and illuminated your path a little bit more in creating a life by design. And I will speak to you guys soon. Bye now.